on Food Journey, we're going topsy-turvy with our local indigenous ingredients, using them in ways we don't normally see. Let's think out of the box today on Food Journey. Are you ready?
Hello and welcome to Food Journey. As our food language from West Africa spreads, people around the world know and use more of our ingredients. But how often are we brave enough to ask our ingredients to be cooked and paired differently? Today on Food Journey, we're doing just that, repurposing our local ingredients. Here's our menu. Hello and welcome to the kitchen, where we are about to start on our first recipe. We are doing African escargot. Now, escargot is French for snails, and the snails that are used for this dish in France are usually very small, and they have quite a delicate flavor. Now, today we're using our African land snail, and if anyone knows about these, you'll know that they can grow to tremendous sizes. But today I've chosen the smallest little tiny ones to try and emulate this dish. Let's see how we can do it and how we do it African style.
It was back to the market again, and this time I was homing in on some snails. Not the large ones from last episode, but these smaller ones. Escargot mouthfuls are meant to be small and delicate. Usually the shells don't go home with you, but in this case I asked for them. Since this dish requires shell use, back in the kitchen, it was important to clean and sterilize them before use, using a fresh toothbrush and soapy water to truly get inside. The brush will be discarded thereafter. Now rinse each one thoroughly, checking for holes. The snails will be grilled and presented in their shells. Final sterilization is boiling them so that they're left squeaky clean. The snails which were removed will be cleaned with this white alum, each rubbed one by one to remove the protective slimy coating, and then rinsed and prepared for cooking until soft with some salt and some garlic powder. You'll know that they're ready by poking them. Now both shells and snails are ready for the next stage.
This is going to be fun because I get to play around with the shells. You've all seen how they were cleaned and sterilized. In the end, I've chosen these to use. And the other ones, well, we'll have to say goodbye to them. The first thing we need to do is the filling. That is made with butter and some herbs. Today I've chosen coriander, and I've also chosen some local scent leaf as well. I feel that this is going to sort of counter that earthiness that the snails have. First things first, a big bowl into which we are putting our butter. I'm going to use almost all of this. It should be enough. It's nice and soft, soft enough for me to fork it through, like so. Get it going a bit. See? Let's put that aside now and start with our other ingredients. Garlic, you know we need this. It's all about the garlic with the escargot, isn't it? So we are going to do about 4 cloves, just smashing them. It's easier to get the garlic out that way, and peeling them. These are so potent. They're going to make for great garlicky taste in here. The local always more potent than the foreign. My goodness, look at that.
Use your handy garlic crusher for this one.
And give that a good mix into the butter. Nice and garlicky. There we go. You know what? Let's add another clove. This is escargot. Garlic is one of the stars. There we go. So, just giving that a good old mix. Getting it to be creamy, this butter. What else are we adding? Let's add some chili. We're in Africa. We want some heat. Now is a little black pepper, a little salt, a nice pinch, and a little splodge of white wine. White wine because the Burgundy recipe calls for it. And we're mixing that all in nicely. Smells heavenly. Our escargot, or our land snails here, the African version, these are smaller and they have been cooked to soft perfection. A tiny little bit of a bite left in them like we like. So stuffing them into these cleaned and sterilized shells is the next thing. First of all, I'm taking some rock salt so that the snail shells don't just zoom around. Next, I've been told that a mistake people often make is that they don't put butter in first into the shell, and we are not going to make that mistake. These have come out so beautifully. Look at that, shiny with that lovely salt. They're hot, but let them cool down a little bit, and I'm going to take one to try with one of these funky forks. Love that. Quake it out. Right. Escargot, cheers. Loving that. It is so garlically intense that you will just love it if you're a garlic lover. The scent leaf really came out beautifully and allowed that earthiness to be toned down just a bit. I love this. Let's have a taste of the butter. I think it needs one of our little toasts, don't you think? Here we go. Let's dip it in, French style. Okay. Love this. And you will too. Gotta try it. Yum, yum. We've all eaten and loved pasta in some form or fashion. It's fun to eat and really fun to make, especially as today we're going to be doing just that and incorporating one of our common green vegetables to really turn it into something cool. Well, I said there was going to be a little twist with this pasta that we're making from scratch. And the twist is that we are going to be using our own green vegetables. This tete is really my favorite to use. I use it when I'm making a foriro, etc. And today it's going to color the pasta green. We are making vegetable pasta, everybody, and I'm raring to go.
The green of the hearty stick-to-your-ribs pasta noodles we're making is coming from this fresh green tete, which first has to be picked leaf by leaf and then rinsed very well with water. When you're confident they're clean, cover them with water and cook them. They are robust and need softening. I'm using my handy and versatile asanka to grind this down easily to a puree of pure green vegetable. You'll need to prepare a clean surface so we can work our pasta dough on it with our hands. Start out with some all-purpose flour. If you can get 00 flour, which is really fine, use that. It's best. Make a small well in the center. And then clap for yourself. Step 1. Break 2 eggs separately and pour them in the well. And now we're adding 2 tablespoons of our vegetable. And we're starting to mix with a fork. Try not to break the fortress of flour. Keep taking flour from the sides gently and gradually mix this in until you start seeing a dough form. And then it's time to ditch the fork and get your clean hands stuck in, gathering and pressing and folding at first, and kneading with the heel of your hands until it all comes together and is smooth. Now we're going to wrap in cling film and refrigerate for 30 minutes. 30 minutes later, we can flour our surface again and roll out with a rolling pin till it's thin enough, and fold and cut into your desired thickness. For our robust spaghetti noodles, we're going cold with an old school, quick and sassy sesame sauce.
Most people are used to having a cooked sauce for their pasta, but today for our special green pasta, we are having it cold with something that I used to love a lot when I was in university. Sesame noodles, cold sesame noodles that is. And it's so easy to make the sauce. It's like 1, 2, 3, easy. Let's do it. There are all strong flavors in this sauce, so all we need is 1 clove of garlic, and a little bit of ginger, which would represent about a teaspoon each. In there, just bash it up. See what we're going for? Sesame paste, peanut butter, a teaspoon and a half of soy, and the same amount of vinegar. Our ginger and garlic. I'm going to loosen this up with a little bit of water.
Now just pour over the noodles and mix in luxuriously. All we need now is the garnish.
The good old Scotch egg is my final choice. Ever present at the small chops table. I keep trying to find the type we enjoyed back in the 70s, but today we're inventing the experience with a little twist.
Ripe plantain is twist one here, repurposing it as a sweet filler for our protein, beef.
Okay, for our Scotch eggs, the first thing we have to do is these boiled eggs need to be cracked and peeled. Easiest way I know is to give them a good bash all the way around and roll them. You can hear that, right? As it's removing from the shell. And it all just comes off. Nice and smooth. We can give these another rinse. So, again,
for the minced beef, I asked my butcher to put it through the mincer 3 times to really tenderize it and make it almost sausage-like. And we're adding a generous amount of spring onion to that first. And a chili, plus seeds, for that heat dimension. Chop it all up really fine so you don't have any big lumps in the meat. Take your time. Traditionally, sausage is used for a Scotch egg, but you can loosen up your fine minced beef with some breadcrumbs.
about half a cup. Also, some garlic powder. Be generous. Some thyme. Little more. And black pepper. Needed. That's part one of the story. We're going to add some plantain to it. A bit of sweetness, yes. So just get that plantain that's ripe the way I love it. This little piece too, I think. And what we're going to do is smash it up and incorporate it into our beef mix. What better way to do this than with our lovely asanka? In it goes. And we'll just transfer this here and give it a smash. And we're going to incorporate that into our mix. So we've got some sweet and we've got some savory here going on. Let's just move all these bits and give this a lovely mix. Here we go. generous pinch. Get that worked in there. And some black pepper too. Could never have enough of that. I'd say we were seasoned well. So just giving that a good old mix. The fork will do. If you want to get your hands in there, you can as well. But I'm just going to take a moment to make sure everything is incorporated like so. With that having been done, we are ready to wrap up some eggs. Voila. Okay, this is sticky business, so I suggest a pair of gloves. And then over here, we have some breadcrumbs and some Gary so that we have a crunchy finish. So that's one of our balls done. Next thing we do is dredge it in a little bit of egg wash like so. And then into our Gary and breadcrumb mix. I kind of like to just douse it around like that. And we have 2 Scotch eggs ready to be fried.
I am loving this idea of savory and sweet mince, and repurposing our Gary as a crunchy coating is really something to experiment in different textures and types of Gary. I do think the Scotch egg is so good the way it was originally created that I'm wondering, why change a good thing? Then I thought about it again and exclaimed, why not? Our reinvented Scotch eggs are ready, looking good, if I don't mind saying so myself. Look at that inside. I'd say that was a result.
Well, it's time to say goodbye from Food Journey, and I do hope you've all been inspired to step out of the box and delight and impress your friends and family with something new, using something we are all familiar with. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.